What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Design Show. In today's video, I'm live on YouTube, like every single video I do. And this video, I want to kind of be talking about some recent moves the Cincinnati Bengals have made. Tuesday, the second day of free agency, I kind of did one of these videos, and I planned on doing a video yesterday about the whole NFL in general on free agency, but the person I was going to do it with was unable to do it, so I want to do that Tuesday. So today, I want to be talking about basically some recent moves that Cincinnati Bengals have made, the moves I would still like for them to make, different stuff like that. So, there's been lots of people go in free agency and lots of surprisingly signings the Bengals have made the last several days. Like I said, if you're just tuning in, kind of be talking about, what the Bengals have done the last several days, some signings and everything like that. We'll go ahead and talk about some departures. I did an episode Tuesday, and as I was doing the video, the same time I was doing the video, it was announced William Jackson signed with the Washington football team for 3 years for $42 million. And, since then, there's been a couple of more players leave as well. For instance, today, the Cincinnati Bengals released Geno Atkins, and by doing that move, the Bengals saved $9.5 million in cap space. But if they waited till after June 1st, they actually would have saved $3 more million and 12.5, so 12.5. So they saved 9.5 there, but they actually could have saved some more if they would have done it after June 1st. They also released Bobby Hart today. They released Bobby Hart, and they actually traded Ryan Finley. Very surprising move. And traded Ryan Finley to the Houston Texans, and by trading Ryan Finley and releasing Bobby Hart, by doing that move, they saved around $5 or $6 million. So with them trading Finley, releasing Hart, and releasing Geno Atkins, they created about $15 million in cap space over those moves. And with the Houston Texans and that trade with Finley, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Texans swapped picks. The Texans have 4 sixth-round picks. The Bengals have 2 sevenths. So the Bengals and the Texans swapped one of the Bengals' 7th and the Texans' 6th-round picks. And it's actually crazy because I did not think we were going to get rid of Finley, and I really did not think we would get that much for him. And I know it sounds crazy, but we did move up 30 spots in the draft in the 6th round. And that's really phenomenal when you really look about how bad Finley was. It's crazy to think about. Like I said, we released Geno Atkins. We got more from Ryan Finley than we did Andy Dalton, AJ Green, Carlos Dunlap, and Geno Atkins. That's just absolutely insane. And that's just really crazy to think about because, Finley, last season, in his rookie year, he was horrible for us. He was 0-3 as a starter. But if it wasn't for him, doing so bad, we probably would not have Joe Burrow right now. And he was also a large part in our victory against the Steelers on Monday Night Football. So I was really, really surprised by that move. And, Geno Atkins, us releasing him, I wasn't really surprised because I expected it to happen. But, there was a part of me I kind of thought maybe it would have been after June 1st. Like I said, they would have saved $3 more million if they did after that. But it's just really crazy to think about because think about 2019, week 1. We play at the Seattle Seahawks. Zach Taylor's first game as a head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. We lose by 1 possession. We could have won that game. Andy Dalton throws for 400 yards, first time in his career. And that's Zach Taylor's first game as a head coach. Things are really promising for us as Bengal fans and the Bengals in their future. Fast forward to now, Andy Dalton's gone, AJ Green's gone, Carlos Dunlap, and Geno Atkins. It is just absolutely crazy. Those are like the core 4 guys who I honestly thought all 4 of them retire as a Bengal. So speaking of departures, I mentioned AJ Green. He signed a 1-year contract with the Arizona Cardinals for $6 million, but it could be up to $8 million. Personally, I thought he was going to go to the Green Bay Packers, but this move actually makes so much sense because Green's not going to be their number one target because that'll be Andre Hopkins. And Green has said throughout his career he really looks up to Larry Fitzgerald. And it's not announced yet if Fitzgerald will be playing this season, but I think that would have a big implication. Since Green goes to Arizona, I think Fitzgerald will come back for another year. But it's going to be really, really weird seeing AJ Green in a different jersey. I mean, I know you've seen like the tribute videos and stuff like that, but in my opinion, it's not going to seem really real until like he's actually in the jersey playing in an NFL game with the Cardinals. I really thought he was going to be a Bengal for life. Same thing, like I said, with Atkins, Dunlap, and Dalton. So Dalton, obviously he didn't play for us this past season, but he actually went to the Bears in a surprising move. Did not think that was going to happen. I actually thought that was a really bad move by Chicago. But, there's also a couple other departures that hasn't been really talked about as much. Randy Bullock actually signed a 1-year contract with the Detroit Lions. And his kind of like a goodbye post, I guess you'd call it, thanking Bengal fans, he actually spelled Cincinnati wrong. So, I mean, even in his goodbye post, he still manages to screw up. But, Alex Erickson, this was kind of an under the radar signing. I honestly did not know about this until just a little bit ago. But Alex Erickson signed a 1-year contract with the Houston Texans. He didn't really play good this past season. This was easily Erickson's worst season as a Bengal. And, Wilson Phillips will get most of the returns now with Erickson being gone. And, Erickson was just a horrible punt returner this past season. But it's weird because the years prior, he was one of the better returners in the league. But, Erickson no longer with the Bengals. Like I said, Green and Randy Bullock no longer either. When also, Bobby Hart gets cut, Ryan Finley gets traded to the Houston Texans, and Atkins gets cut. With those cuts, they save about $15 million. And there's also rumors of us potentially getting Kenny Golladay. I would be all for getting Kenny Golladay. He's one of my favorite receivers in the league. Not just saying that because we have a chance to get him. I have said for years, in my opinion, Kenny Golladay is the most underrated receiver in the NFL. It's not even particularly close. For instance, this past season, I believe he only played 5 games due to an injury. But the year prior and his last 2 years before his injury this past season, he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Since entering the league, he leads the league in yards per reception in 16.8. And in not this past season, but the year prior, he led the NFL in receiving touchdowns with David Blau and Jeff Driscoll as his quarterback. He led the league in receiving touchdowns with 11, with Driscoll as quarterback. That's just absolutely crazy to me. And David Blau, who's an undrafted free agent. I would absolutely love to see Golladay with this team. We were trending yesterday. I don't know if we ever made it to number 1, but I know we were top 3. I believe 2 even at one point. But, Golladay, DEY, like Houday. But I really want to see Golladay because think about it. I mean, you have T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Auden Tate, Kenny Golladay. And I know lots of people are going to say, we need offensive line. We do. But imagine we trade back and get Kyle Pitts. Boyd, Higgins, Pitts, and Kenny Golladay. That is, you're not going to be able to stop that offense unless you sack us. Which, that's probably a possibility if we do not get any more offensive linemen. Have Darian Harris. What's up, Sports Dude? What's going on? Thanks for joining and stuff. I'm just tuning in, talking about kind of the Bengals' recent moves, a couple other moves I'd like for them to make. I'm also going to be doing a mock draft at the end. So speaking of moves, a day or so ago, the Bengals signed defensive tackle Larry Ogunjabi, I think I pronounced that right, from the Cleveland Browns. He spent four seasons with the Browns, and he's going to be a Geno Atkins replacement because, with Atkins being released and everything. And despite, us signing Ogunjabi, I would not be surprised at all if we would still end up re-signing Mike Daniels. Ogunjabi, I like that signing a lot, but you look at his grades from PFF the past 4 seasons, they've actually declined quite a bit. For instance, 2017, 78.4, 2018, 60.6, 2019, 56, and 2020, this past season, he was as low as 53. So with just a couple year difference, he was 78. Now, this past season, he was down to 53. So according to PFF, Larry Ogunjabi's decline in play has his play has been declining for the past several seasons now. But I like this move. I do not believe it was ever announced what the numbers for this contract was. I would probably figure it'd be like $2 or $3 million, which I'm fine with that. But I would still really like to see Mike Daniels return to the defensive line too. I thought he was pretty good for us this past season. He was vocal that he would be willing to re-sign with us. Mike Daniels was recently on Good Morning Football talking about how he would like to re-sign with us. Actually posted that video, so make sure to go check that if you want to. But something interesting to me about PFF, for instance, I personally thought Mike Daniels played it right past season, but Mike Daniels' PFF rating was actually worse than Larry Ogunjabi's. Ogunjabi's was 53, while Mike Daniels was, I believe, 52.2. So despite their ratings, at times, in my opinion, I feel like their ratings aren't really accurate all the time because, it's kind of weird because I thought Mike Daniels played pretty well, and he had just a 52. Yeah, Galladay. Yeah, it's really, really hope we get him. Right now, it's not looking likely. Josina Anderson from ESPN reported that the New York Giants and Galladay, their talks between them are starting to heat up. There's also reports that the Baltimore Ravens will get Galladay. To me, that's just pretty funny because it would be absolutely horrible for Galladay. That'd be horrible for his career. There's also There's also the Chicago Bears, which I think that's pretty laughable too. You have a chance to play with Joe Burrow, Andy Dalton, Daniel Jones, or Lamar Jackson. Who are you going to pick? It's a no-brainer. Not being biased, it's just it's just facts. The Giants right now, they're probably going to get him, but I find it really funny. There was rumors about the Ravens offering Galladay a contract. Finally getting Lamar Jackson, the wide receiver. Even if Galladay goes to the Ravens, it doesn't make them that much of a bigger threat. The Ravens have not had a wide receiver get more than 800 yards since 2016. They're always going to be a run-first offense as long as they have Lamar Jackson. But if Galladay goes to the Ravens, I don't really think they're much of a bigger threat. If we went to the Browns, something like that, in the division, I think they would be a lot bigger of a threat. But realistically, we supposedly offered, Galladay a 1-year deal. I think that would be best for him because let's say we offer him 1 for 12 or something like that, and he absolutely plays really, really good. Because we offered him a 1-year deal because it was a prove-it deal. Because, like I said, he only played about 5 or 6 games this past season, and then he was out for the rest of the season due to an injury. So he's coming off a season-ending injury. So we have a prove-it deal with him for a 1-year deal. Let's say he takes a 1 for 12, something like that, gets 1,000 yards, plays really good for us. And next season, he has a chance to go play someplace else and gets let's say 3 for 50 or 3 for 55, something like that. There's also reports that Galladay wanted 18.5 a year. I personally do not believe that at all. I just don't see how he could get that much, considering Corey Davis got 12.5. I thought that was too high. Juju Smith re-signed with the Steelers. He only signed for 8, which I don't think the Steelers are any better than Juju Smith. He's obviously the most overrated receiver in the NFL. Not being biased, just my opinion. I think it's just facts. But it's just really interesting. I don't see Galladay getting 18.5. I see him getting 15 maybe because no other receivers got even close to 18.5 this past season. In the season with the offseason, signings and wide receivers. Corey Davis and Nelson Aguilar are some of the top wide receivers signing so far for agency, between 12 or 13. I could definitely see Galladay getting 15, but 18.5, in my opinion, is just way too much considering, how good this wide receiver class is wide receiver class is. It's not as good as last season's, but it's still really, really good. Yeah, Giants are locked in. Yeah, I would say there's probably 85% chance the Giants take Kenny Galladay. So he wants to play with Burrow, Galladay. Yeah, that would be absolutely awesome. But realistically, I don't know. I'm really happy we at least offered him a deal, but I still wish we could have offered him something better. Because let's say, like, him getting a 1-year deal, and the odds of us signing him for a 1-year contract, then him re-signing next year with us are very, very slim. Let's say, I'd say there's at the absolute most a 10% chance we get Kenny Galladay. He plays good for us this season. Next season, I say there's probably about a 10% chance we sign him then. Because, next season we have a couple of players in free agency. I believe Auden Tate is one. And, Jesse Bates is also one. So we're already going to have a couple of pretty good players in free agency. And if Kenny Galladay would, ball out with us, he's going to want a lot of money next year. So it's going to be really interesting with Galladay. Personally, I would love to have him on the team. That's the best. I mean, that's one of the best receiving corps in the NFL. I kind of said it earlier. Let's say you get Kyle Pitts. It's not going to happen. But if you get Pitts and Galladay, that is dangerous. Like, that's potentially the most dangerous offense in the NFL if you can get a couple more upgrades, potentially at the offensive line. Now there's probably 2%. Yeah. Even like I said 10%. I think that's even kind of generous there. But, speaking of, I kind of mentioned Jesse Bates. And this news has a lot to do with Jesse Bates because the Denver Broncos extended Simmons, the safety from the Broncos, I believe 4 years, $61 million. And it was kind of, in my opinion, it was kind of a who's going to sign first type of deal. Whoever signs first, the second person will get more money. Bates and Simmons are regarded as some of the best safeties in the NFL. So Justin Simmons gets $15 million. When we extend Jesse Bates, if we do so, I expect Jesse Bates to get right around that money, maybe even more. The 4 for 61, that's right at 15 a season. 4 for 61, that's right about 15 a year. But Jesse Bates, if we extend him, he'll get right about the money because this is kind of a waiting game. See what team extends their player first. I kind of mentioned Larry Ogunjabi, the signing, the defensive tackle who played, with the Cleveland Browns for the past 4 seasons, and how he's going to be a Geno Atkins replacement. And I also feel like we could still extend Mike Daniels as well. We also signed somebody else, right tackle Riley Reef, who played with the Minnesota Vikings. During this past season with the Vikings, he did pretty good. He only allowed 1 sack compared to Bobby Hart's 4. Had less than half of Bobby Hart's pressures. Had a much, much higher grade than Bobby Hart at right tackle. And at Riley Reef's press conference, he said he was going to play right tackle, which makes it really, really interesting because if Riley Reef is going to play right tackle, as of right now, you would expect Jonah Williams is going to play left tackle. But if Penei Sewell was there at the 5th pick overall, that's where things get interesting. I mean, the Riley Reef contract was a 1-year deal. It is $7.5 million, but $5.5 is guaranteed. Well, let's say if Penei Sewell was there at 5, we have Jonah Williams at left tackle and Riley Reef at right tackle. Do we draft Penei Sewell, play him at left, and switch Jonah Williams to guard? Personally, I mean, I understand, for the future, I think that may be the better option. But right now, I just really don't want to see Jonah Williams playing guard. I don't really think it's a great idea. I don't trust his offensive line staff. I don't trust his coaching staff at all to have somebody. Think about this for a second. Jonah Williams did not play a single snap for his rookie season. His second season, he played 10 games, got hurt again, ended the season on a season-ending injury. He's played 10 games in 2 seasons. and we might have him play completely different positions. But it's really, really risky, in my opinion, to possibly switch Jonah Williams to guard. And if Jonah Williams would play guard, that's only if Penei Sewell is available at number 5, and if we would select him there. Trey Turner, possibly. I wouldn't mind that. Trey Turner to me would be a really, really nice option. This past season PFF, he had a horrible grade. This past season was easily his worst. He's been to the Pro Bowl multiple times. But in my opinion, let's see here. For instance, the agent target. I really, really like Larry Warford, who was a guard from the Saints in 2019. He did not play this past season. He opted out of the season due to the coronavirus. And in 2019, he was rated the 11th best guard according to Pro Football Focus. He had a really, really high grade, and I think he's not going to get a ton of money because he did not play this past season. But in 2019, he was one of the best guards. You can get a top 10 guard for, I would say, fairly cheap, because not many teams are probably going to want Larry Warford because he didn't play this past season. He's not played in a game in over a year. I would really, really like Larry Warford or Trey Turner. Either one of those players, to me, I think would be outstanding signings for the Bengals. Speaking of another signing, I kind of mentioned this on my video Tuesday. So, on Tuesday I did the video. It was the second day of free agency. And today is the fifth day, Friday and everything. Someone I would really like for us to get is Ryan Kerrigan, the edge rusher from the Washington football team. In 10 seasons, Kerrigan has 95 sacks. Every single season in his career, he's had at least 5 sacks. Something really interesting, I know we signed Trey Hendrickson, and we still need a little bit more edge help. I would really like for us to extend Sam Hubbard, but we may not. He's a free agent 1 year from now. And aside from that, we really don't have any good edge rushers. This edge rushing class in the draft is one of the best ever. I would really like for us to maybe get an edge rusher in round 3, if that's possible. Ryan Kerrigan, if we sign him to a 1-year contract, I would like that a lot. But part of the reason I would like for us to sign Kerrigan so much, and I think it really could happen, is because, while Kerrigan was playing in college at Purdue, Lou Anamaro was also, the Bengals defensive coordinator, was also on the Boilermakers coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball during that time, while Ryan Kerrigan was playing at Purdue. So there's already a little bit of familiarity there. So I think it would be possible, Anamaro and Kerrigan, if Kerrigan likes Anamaro, which, that's a big question mark, because it seems like not many defensive players in our team like Anamaro. For instance, the Carlos Dunlap. But I think that's a possible target. But, you mentioned Trey Turner. I think that'd be a fantastic target. Larry Warford, somebody also talked about the other day, Tuesday, was Trent Williams. Obviously, he re-signed with the 49ers for 5 years. It's averaged $23 million a season. That's, I would have loved to get Williams, but that's probably a little bit too much. And I really did not expect Williams to go anywhere aside from San Francisco. But Ryan Kerrigan and Larry Warford, Trey Turner, those are probably the top guys for me I would look for us to get. Wide receivers, kind of already talked about, Kenny Golladay, for about an hour or so, it looked like we actually had a chance to get Golladay. I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was Ben Baby, but, somebody asked him the odds of us getting Golladay, and he said it was really, really slim. At the absolute most, I'd give us a 10% chance of getting Golladay. We don't sign him, which I don't figure we will. We really, really need to get us another wide receiver, because we have Auden Tate, who I believe is a free agent 1 year from now. We have T. Higgins and Taylor Boyd. I like Auden Tate a lot. I know most of other fans like Auden Tate a lot. Something to keep in mind is that last season, the Bengals coaching staff actually had Auden Tate at one game a healthy scratch. So, in my opinion, I think Auden Tate's really good. When he plays, he's really, really underrated. But it kind of appears like the coaching staff may not think as high as Auden Tate as we, the fans, do, because he was a healthy scratch for no apparent reason last season at one point. But it'd be really interesting. I saw a report the other day, it might have been yesterday, I really don't remember, that we signed Michael Thomas. I don't know if that's true. I'm not saying that from a verified source. So, I mean, if it is true, I don't really like it because, I mean, he's not really, he doesn't really catch much. Even, when he had limited targets, he dropped multiple ones. And, he dropped multiple catches last season despite having him limited targets. He was more so a special teams guy, especially that hit against the Dolphins and all that, that fight and everything. But if we did sign Mike Thomas, I don't know if it's true. I've seen reports, seen some people post about it. I mean, if we did, I don't really like it. But, who knows if we actually did or not. Realistically, I think if we sign a wide receiver, it'll be Josh Reynolds from the Rams. And I do not want that at all. I mean, I know familiarity with Zach Taylor. If we could sign him for maybe like 1 year for $2 million, I guess that'd be okay. But anything more than that, I don't want him. If that's the case, I mean, give me at least one receiver in the draft because this wide receiver class that I already mentioned is really, really talented. Or maybe get, who knows, maybe a cheap wide receiver. Like I know it probably won't happen. Maybe somebody like Deshaun Jackson. I know he's getting up there in age. We know he could kind of be our speed receiver replacement of John Ross. He's no longer on the team. He also signed with the New York Giants. Just a second here. There's Rappaport just tweeted out the Giants' visit with Kenny Golladay has ended today, and he's left the building. But the team remains interested. It went very well, and the two sides will stay in contact. So that just was tweeted by Ian Rappaport. Really, really looking unlikely we're going to get Golladay. I mean, that sucks. But, I mean, I'd love to. Realistically, I don't think it'll happen. Let's see here. Malik Hooker, a 1 year prove-it deal. I wouldn't mind that at all, especially us, not going to re-sign Sean Williams. I think there's a 0% chance we sign Sean Williams. It just seemed like the coaching staff did not really like him much. He only played 10 snaps a game. Despite him being a safety, actually like half of his snaps was at a linebacker position. So Malik Hooker, I wouldn't mind that. It seems like every single year we always have a couple of 1 year deals with some defensive players. This year is Larry Ogunjabi. Past years, we've had multiple different people like Kevin Minner and different players like that. Preston Brown. I wouldn't mind that at all. Trey Turner, Eric Fisher, Mitchell Schwartz. I wouldn't mind either one of those players at all. But Trey Turner is the only one that makes sense because Eric Fisher and Schwartz are both tackles, and we just signed Riley Reef, so I didn't really that one really would not really make much sense. Kerrigan, yeah, I really think that makes a lot of sense, and I know it's not being talked about. I'm pretty much one of the only people who have talked about it all, but I really think it happened, and it makes so much sense, and I think it'll be a really nice signing because, like I said, he's playing 10 seasons. In the NFL, and he's had 95.5 sacks in 10 years. Every single year he's played, he's had at least 5 sacks. So you're tuning in and everything. Just now tuning in, talking about some of the Bengals' recent signings, some of their recent departures, some more free agent targets I would like for them to sign. Also going to be probably doing a mock draft in a few minutes, so make sure to stay tuned for that. If you all could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I'd really, really appreciate it. I'm trying to get 500 subscribers before the draft. Just got, I think, 305 today, so it's going to be pretty close. Jalen Waddle, we don't get Sewell. That is really, really intriguing because I think Waddle is I think that's the biggest dark horse from number 5. I think it's possible because let's say we don't get Golladay because, I mean, if we offer Golladay a contract, we clearly must be wanting a receiver badly. I know Golladay supposedly contacted the Bengals first, but Jalen Waddle, I mean, I think that's a possibility. If a crazy scenario, if Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell were both gone, I could see Jalen Waddle being number 5. It's just really crazy because he reminds me a lot of John Ross, speedster. He's not getting enough credit. I think he's much better than Devontae Smith. He's up there with Jamar Chase, personally. I like Kyle Pitts more than all of them. But Jalen Waddle, I think he's the most intriguing player, and he's the dark horse for number 5, in my opinion. Yeah, Golladay went well with New York. Yeah, it's not looking good to get Golladay. Fuller, yeah, that probably won't happen. We signed a Woozy from the Cowboys. We also signed Mike Hilton. He's our slot corner. We're probably not going to. If we would get Fuller, we wouldn't have much money. I believe he was getting around something ridiculous, maybe around 15, higher than that, 20, something like that, with the Bears. I wouldn't be surprised if Fuller went to the Cowboys. I think that makes so much sense. The Cowboys really in the corner. Also, somebody else to watch out for is the Broncos. They lost Chris Harris last season. They recently released AJ Boye. One of those teams, in my opinion, makes a lot of sense for Fuller, but I don't see the Bengals being one. Let's see here, Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, I think he would be an interesting fit. But in my video I did with Blake Jude not too long ago, in that video we talked about where some of these top players will go, and I would like to see Deshaun Jackson here, but he's had injury issues the past several seasons, and he's really getting up there in age. Maybe a 1 year, $3 million, 1.5 guaranteed. And I know that may be too cheap. I know it might be a Mike Brown deal, low ball offer, but anything more than 3, I would probably not do. Deshaun Jackson, to me, I think a perfect place for him, though. If he doesn't come here, which I don't really think it's likely. Deshaun Jackson would be perfect with the Chiefs. Because Deshaun Jackson was coached by Andy Reid, Philadelphia, and with Sammy Watkins, being a free agent, and I do not expect the Chiefs to re-sign Watkins. I think Deshaun Jackson would be a really nice fit there in the city. Chase at 5, no matter what. I don't know. I mean, if it's between, I like Pitts more than Chase. I like Pitts. I like the idea of trading back for Pitts and getting an extra pick than getting Sewell at 5. I know I sound crazy, and I know I'm one of the only people who probably say that. I can't remember his name, but somebody from Twitter who really likes Pitts a lot too. Waddle was not the half receiver Chase is. Yeah, I agree that Chase is better than Waddle, but I think Waddle is better than Devontae Smith. How I feel in Davion Nixon, I would not mind him in the 3rd round. Especially with that Larry Ogunjabi deal. That's only a 1-year contract, so that's something to keep in mind. And also, the Riley Reef contract is also a 1-year deal. So, despite sending some of these players, we still kind of, draft those positions as well. Davion Nixon, I would have no issue drafting him in the 3rd round if he's still available at that point, but I really don't know if he will be. I don't really want to draft him in the 2nd round because I feel like there'll be better players than that. But I would really like that if he was there in the 3rd. Somebody also I like is Darius Stills from West Virginia. I know we had a meeting, or we were able to talk to him some. But let's say even if we sign Mike Daniels, that's Mike Daniels and Larry Ogunjabi, who are both free agents next season, both defensive tackles. Our defensive tackles right now, aside from those players, Mike Daniels hasn't even signed yet, but Larry Ogunjabi, who's a free agent 1 year from now, Josh Tupou, who opted out this past season, Renell Wren, who's had injury issues, and DJ Reader, who's coming off a season-ending injury. I would really like Davion Nixon, who's there in the 3rd round. Yeah, realistically, I think Chase will not be there at 5. I feel like it's a lot more likely that Sewell is going to be available at 5 than Jamar Chase. If Chase is gone, I really want Pitts. I like Pitts a ton. He's top 5 fair prospects to me. I really, really like him a lot. He's not your generational. He's not your typical tight end. How people say, Penei Sewell is a generational offensive tackle. Okay, Same exact thing could be said and should be said for Kyle Pitts. He's not a normal tight end at all. He's going to be a Travis Kelce, a George Kittle, one of those guys. I mean, you can line him up at wide receiver. I mean, I know we're not going to send Galladay, but I've already mentioned a couple of times. Galladay, Pitts, Boyd, Higgins, with Burrow as your quarterback. I mean, that is just phenomenal. We should target AJ Bouye from the Broncos. You know, there was already talks that, you know, we kind of talked to him a little bit. Realistically, you know, with us getting Awuzie, I don't know if we'll sign him or not. But again, I really like the Cowboys to maybe get AJ Bouye. I know the Broncos won't. I know the Broncos and Cowboys are probably the two top corner needy teams right now. You know, obviously the Broncos won't because they just cut Bouye, but I think the Cowboys could be one of those people. T.Y. Hilton would be a better fit than Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, Hilton would be better, but realistically, Hilton's going to get more money. I think he'll be maybe a 2 for 15, something along the lines of that. You know, Hilton's not what he used to be. You know, kind of reminds me of A.J. Green. He has far better days behind him than ahead of him. I know the Packers are very limited in cap space, but I think the Packers could be in play for T.Y. Hilton because, you know, T.Y. Hilton, he's up there in age. He's over 30. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to a very nice team, maybe like the Chiefs, the Packers, something like that, tries to go ring chasing before he retires. But I'm not saying he's going to retire like today or like the next year or so, but he's getting up there in age, and he's not what he used to be. Definitely not a number one receiver. I wouldn't mind Hilton, but he's going to want more than Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, they said Galladay left without a contract. You know, I was just recently, I read a couple minutes ago. He did not sign a contract with the Giants once he left the visit, but both Galladay and the Giants, they have a mutual interest in possibly to get something done. Waddle was better at chase and speed. Yeah, I mean, there's no question on that. 3 players I want. I don't know if that's a question or you just commented, but 3 players I like. I like Kyle Pitts. I like Kadarius Toney. I know we're probably not getting either one, but I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, it just really depends what we do in free agency. I know we've been able to do some moves. I like both those players. If we were to get either one, I would be really, really happy with those. I really like some of the edge rushers. The edge rusher from Pittsburgh, Patrick Jones, I like him a lot. Gordon Smith from UAB, I like him a lot as well. Shaka Toney, you know, some of those guys, Peyton Turner. I would really like edge rushers. Also, Jalen Tallman, I always pronounce that wrong, but the defensive tackle from Pittsburgh, you know, somebody mentioned Davion Nixon. I would rather get Tallman in the 4th and Nixon in the 3rd. Tallman's going to be really, really good. He's one of the more underrated tackles in the league. Should we get T.Y. instead over Deshaun Jackson? I wouldn't be against it, but Hilton's going to want more money. Let's see here. Burrow wants chasing, like sorting the guys who can get it, so speed doesn't matter much. I don't disagree with that. Waddle's faster. Waddle no matter what. So that okay. I don't. That's in my opinion. That's a little bit iffy. I mean, if Sewell and Chase are there, I don't think you can take Waddle. Even if Pitts is there, I mean, I still don't think you can take Waddle. I like Waddle. If we traded back to like 8 or something like that, I'd have no issue. But Waddle to me, no matter what, I don't really agree with that one. Wait, let's see here. Wait later and get Swartz from Auburn. Oh yeah, Swartz, I like him a ton. You know, I mean, people talk about Eric Stokes, the corner from Georgia. You know, his 40-yard dash. I wouldn't be totally shocked if Anthony Swartz would, you know, have a similar 40-yard dash. Yeah, speedy receivers. When we talk about speedy receivers, Jalen Darden from North Texas. You know, I mentioned somebody asked, you know, some players I like. Jalen Darden, wide receiver from North Texas. One of my favorites. I would really love him in the 5th round. Absolutely does. I think that'd be phenomenal for us. So I want to be doing before I go. Thanks everybody for tuning in and everything. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to do a Bengals or a mock draft from PFF. I usually use pretty much every single Bengals video I do because they're fun to do, and different discussions and everything like that. So let me just a second here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. You guys too, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel. If I get to 400 subscribers before April 1st, I'll do a autograph giveaway of your all's choice. That hasn't been posted or anything yet. I literally just made it up as I went. So make sure to subscribe. And if I get 400 subscribers before April 1st, I'll do a autograph giveaway of your all's choosing. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. Let's see here. So I'm going to do this from PFF. 7 rounds. This does not include the trade swap that happened today with Ryan Finley because I do not know the specific pick that we got from them. So I'm just going to do like the normal draft order. Micah Parsons, number 3. That is stupid. I mean, I want to make this realistic as possible. Divine thought, appreciate that. Jamar Chase, number 3, makes no sense. Excuse me, Micah Parsons. Like he could possibly be there at their other 1st round pick. But so Zach, what? Yeah, I'm gonna just redo this one. Like Zach Wilson, number 1. Like I like Zach a ton, but let's not be stupid here. Like seriously, this is the most unrealistic mock draft I've ever seen in the top 4. So comment some players you like in the later rounds, some draft targets. Let's see. That's the same though. I know we got one of their 6 because they had 4 first-round picks, 4 6th-round picks. But I know ones we swapped. I know you mentioned their 212th, but I don't know which 7th we swapped because we have 231 and 233. I know that. We'll try this again, and hopefully this is a lot more realistic and not have Zach Wilson number 1 and Micah Parsons number 3 because that was beyond horrible. This is much more realistic, but it's still not totally accurate. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase. That's the top 4. I've said this in a video. I actually posted about it. If Penei Sewell is here, I'm not taking Penei Sewell, which I'm going to here, but I'm not. I want to take Penei Sewell here, but this is very interesting because the 49ers absolutely love Zach Wilson. John Lynch has been to multiple BYU games this past season. You look at the 49ers fan base on Instagram, they all have like Zach Wilson jersey swaps and stuff like that. Like they really, really like Wilson. You go watch Zach Wilson's highlight tapes, his film on YouTube. All the comments are from 49er fans. And Jimmy Garoppolo, if they would cut Jimmy Garoppolo, they would only count against 2.7 cap for the 49ers. So I really feel like the 49ers, in this situation, the 49ers could trade up with the Bengals. I really think San Francisco would offer the Bengals a ridiculous trade offer they can't refuse. For instance, I think they would swap first-round picks. San Francisco would give us their 2nd this year, their 1st next year, and their 2nd. I know I sound crazy, but we would swap picks in the 1st round, also give us their 2nd this year, and also their 1st and 2nd next year. I mean, they love Zach Wilson. I'm not going to do that trade, though, because I've already done a video about it. But Zach Wilson, I know I sound crazy. Zach Wilson at number 5, if he's there at number 5, I truly believe That's best case scenario over getting Penei Sewell, because a team is going to trade it for Zach Wilson to give us a ridiculous trade offer we cannot refuse. And I know there's probably some teams, I know it sounds crazy, who like Zach Wilson more than Trevor Lawrence. I actually like Zach Wilson more than Trevor Lawrence as well. Zach Wilson, I think, is going to be a phenomenal quarterback in the league. But in my opinion, I really think if Zach Wilson falls at 5, we're going to get a ridiculous trade offer that we just cannot refuse. But I am going to take Penei Sewell here for being more realistic, because I do not think Zach Wilson will drop out of the top 4. So we take Penei Sewell here at number 5. We will have Penei Sewell at left tackle. We will have Reef at right tackle. And we'll probably have Jalen Williams at left guard, even though I do not like that at all. I really don't want us to play Jalen Williams at guard if we don't have to. Situation, we probably would have to, though. Getting Relief and Sewell at 5. Like I said, Jalen Williams has only played 10 games in 2 seasons due to injuries. Moving him to a completely different position is very, very risky. Oh, I like, you mentioned Chris Rump. I like him a lot. Cameron Terry, I've not really watched too much tape on him. Somebody, a underrated receiver I like is Travon Grimes from Florida. He does not get the credit he deserves. Everybody talks about Kyle Pitts and Darius Toney. In my opinion, Travon Grimes gets really overlooked by those two playmakers. Bengals should get Parsons. No. I hate Micah Parsons. I mean, he's really good, but I really think he's overrated. I honestly do not understand why Micah Parsons is even going to get drafted. When we drafted Joe Mixon over years ago, everybody talks, who's going to take the chance on Joe Mixon, because, he punched the woman in the face and everything. There's a video. Several years later, I always forget his name. Jeffrey Simmons from Mississippi State. There was a video of him, punching a woman and everything. There's this video of it. There was talks, those players, who's going to take a chance on those type of guys. But Micah Parsons, go look at that. Go look Parsons assault or charges. It's really, really disgusting. He's done some supposedly horrible things. Teammates. He's done multiple fights. I do not want Micah Parsons on the team, because if you wanted to get a new culture in, when Zach Taylor was announced as the head coach, one of the first things he done was release Mark Walton. He was arrested multiple times, and he's still getting arrested. Just as a couple of weeks ago, I think it was at Pizza Hut or something. But you do not want those type of guys, troublemakers in your team, especially in a rebuilding mode and a culture changing situation that we're kind of in. I do not want Micah Parsons. Even if he drops the 2nd round, I wouldn't draft him. I would trade back and let somebody else go. We took Penei Sewell in the 1st round. This is really interesting. We took Penei Sewell in the 1st round. So we'd have Sewell at left tackle, Jonah Williams at left guard. Let's say Billy Price or Trey Hopkins, whoever. That just determines if Trey Hopkins will be able to start week 1. Which one of those guys will start at center? Right guard, I did mention Larry Warford. Could possibly get him. And right tackle will be Riley Reef. Wyatt Davis here. Wyatt Davis and Penei Sewell. At the offensive line standpoint, that's best case scenario. I'm going to go ahead and do that because, we may not sign Larry Warford. But, you got Wyatt Davis and Penei Sewell in the first 2 rounds. You just got Riley Reef. To me, that pretty much covers up your offensive line issues. See here. Round 3. I'm going ahead and taking Patrick Jones. I know he's way down PFF's big board in here. He shouldn't be. A recent, when I did my Bengals mock draft with Billy Jewell a couple of weeks ago, we both really, really like Patrick Jones. And we talked about, Patrick Jones should not be down on the list as far. We're currently picking In the third round, 69th overall. Patrick Jones, last time I checked, he was around 138. He might have jumped up some. I'm taking him here. He should not be there. I know at a standpoint, at their big board that may not seem best player available, but I'm telling you that is 100% best player available in round 3. This is a really, really nice mock draft so far. Because, I know we signed Hendrickson, but that contract's pretty big. And Sam Hubbard is the free agent 1 year from now. We saw their offensive line issues. We've got another edge rusher for the future. He's one of the best edge rushers in the class. Definitely one of my favorites. So let's see here. As we go to the 4th round, somebody mentioned Micah Parsons. I don't like Parsons, but Dylan Moses in the 4th. I know that's not team need, but that's definitely one of the player available. You don't draft like team needs unless they're like one of the best players available. For instance, several years ago we drafted Billy Price. The Lions had the pick before us, and we were planning on taking Frank Ragnow. The Detroit Lions actually picked Ragnow up ahead of us, and we reached and took Billy Price. The oversized Caillou, guy who looks like Caillou, the little kid from a cartoon, has clearly not worked out at all. And he's best. Let's see here. This is really interesting. I also like Ambry Thomas a lot because I know we signed a Woozy and Mike Hilton, but we could still use him in the corner because Darius Phillips is also a free agent at the end of the season. This is tough. I'm going to take Dylan Moses. I think it's a really nice pick. I know we picked 3 linebackers last season. Logan Wilson in the 3rd, Davis Gaither in the 4th, and Marcus Bailey in the 7th. But Dylan Moses in the 4th, you just cannot pass up on that type of talent. Just tuning in, doing the Bengals summer mock draft, and I've already talked about some of the recent signings and players I'd like for them to get. Also talk about some recent departures, like AJ Green, and Bobby Hart. See, comments and players you kind of like in these rounds. I kind of have a select few. I don't know why the corner. I know somebody mentioned Terry from Florida State and Fitz Rump. I already picked Patrick Jones, so I'm probably not going to pick an edge rusher again unless there's a player I just pass up on. Paulson Debo, I do like him. I also like Robert Shell from Central Arkansas. If you go look up Trey Lance's game against Central Arkansas, you will see Robert Rochelle several times making some really, really nice plays. Ooh, Amari Rogers. I want to be realistic here, so I'm not going to take him. Let's see. Yeah, Dwayne Askridge, he should already be gone. I'm going to take corner. I'm going to take either Robert Rochelle or Paulson Debo. Stanford just had their pro day yesterday. Paulson Debo, with Stanford. I want to take a Debo here in the 5th round. I know we signed 2 corners, but those are basically replacement corners. But we could still use them in the corner, especially like I said, Darius Phillips is a free agent 1 year from now. But in the next round, I'm definitely going wide receiver. I know I'm not to defensive tackle, but if we sign Larry Ogunjabi, and hopefully we'll re-sign Mike Daniels. Philip Lindsay, the Texans. That's interesting. They're giving Deshaun Watson not great weapons, but I would say they're at least trying to give him some weapons so he won't leave. But I still think he will. In the 6th round, 189th overall. I try to do best player available, and I try not to pick favorites. But 211 and 212 are probably my 2 favorite players right here. 189 in the 6th round. 211 is Marcus Stevenson from Houston, and 212 is Travon Grimes. Either one of these players, I would be really, really happy with. I like him a lot. I want to pick Travon Grimes I already talked about him earlier. He's one of my favorite late round prospects. He does not get the credit he deserves. He makes some really, really nice catches. I believe it was against Georgia. He had a really, really nice jump ball against, I believe it was Tyson Campbell or Eric Stokes, one of those Georgia top corners. Overall, this draft has been really, really successful so far. I know we've not took a defensive tackle, but if we would sign Mike Daniels for 2 years, I think that may kind of, help us a little bit. Several days ago, I would say we can get like Kerrigan Hawkins or Brandon Knox, Elijah Mitchell, one of those running backs, but we also signed Samaje Perine to a 2-year deal. So I don't expect us to do that. Especially Perine. And with the potentially rumor, I wouldn't say rumors, but the possibility of us cutting Quentin Morris here in the 7th round. He's one of my favorite tight ends. He shouldn't. I don't know if he should be here or not, but I'm gonna pick him anyway. Because Joe Everett, he signed with the Seahawks, and lots of people kind of thought maybe the Bengals would sign Joe Everett because with the familiarity with Zach Taylor and CJ Uzomah, he's coming off a season-ending injury. Drew Sample is still a major, major question mark in my opinion. I don't think he's ever going to live up to the pick that we actually picked him to be. Our last pick here. If Jacoby Stevens is there, that's going to pick him. He might not be. Well, I guess he could have been picked. Crap. Travon Jackson, he was picked 224 Panthers. That's also somebody really late sleeper to watch out for. But Jacoby Stevens, he's already had talks, I believe, with the Bengals. Played with Joe Burrow. He's a safety. And I know we re-signed Brandon Wilson to a 2-year deal, but Brandon Wilson actually does not play a lot of safety. He's more so of a special teamer. And with Sean Williams not going to be with us, he's going to sign someplace else. Yep, so Jacoby Stevens has already been picked. It's kind of interesting. These two, I hate having 2 7th round picks. It's really interesting. And you don't know who to pick here. Let's see here. Wouldn't mind Josh Ball, the offensive tackle from Marshall, but we did already pick Penei Sewell, and we still have Jonah Williams, who, with us picking Sewell, he will be a guard, and we do have Bradley Reef. I've already kind of picked, our team needs our tackle, guard, and corner. But, in free agency, we've already covered corner and kind of tackle. And in this mock, I've already covered guard. Let's see. I might pick quarterback here. I know that's unpopular. But I'm going to pick Ian Book, quarterback in Notre Dame. To me, he's all right. I don't think he's ever going to be like a career starter. Obviously, he's picked here in the 7th round. But, if he has to come in like a game or two, I think he could be all right. I know we re-signed Brandon Allen. But with us trading Finley, which to me still just absolutely shocks me that we actually got something in return for Brian freaking Finley. Book to me could be one of those guys, maybe like a Brandon Allen, practice squad guy, 3rd-string quarterback. If he can maybe come in a game or two if he has to, but he's never going to be a good career starter. So let's see this mock. Sewell at 5, White Davis in the 2nd, Patrick Jones in the 3rd, Dylan Moses in the 4th, Paulson Deville in the 5th. We really went defensive heavy in this mock draft. Travon Grimes in the 6th. I love that pick. Quentin Morris in the 7th and Ian Book in the 7th. Ian Book to me with my last pick was probably the most one I was stuck with. Didn't know who was going to pick, but actually PFF gave me an A+ for that one. It's really surprising. And also really surprising is that of all my picks, my favorite pick on this mock draft is probably either Travon Grimes in the 6th, the wide receiver from Florida, or Patrick Jones, the edge rusher from Pittsburgh. Those were probably my two favorite picks in this mock draft, but they actually graded Travon Grimes a C+. That really surprised me because even in the 5th round, I would absolutely love Travon Grimes. So, let me know in the comments what you think of this mock draft. If you think graded 1 through 10, and with this mock draft and what for agency or how you think our team could have. Realistically, with free agency and this mock draft, we don't really sign anybody huge for the rest of free agency. And if this mock draft actually happens, I could see this team maybe winning, I don't know, maybe 8 to 9 games, something like that. 9 games, I'd say. Because, potentially with Jordan Williams and Malik Reef, that's a really nice offensive line. Well, also, you get White Davis. Patrick Jones can help you out in the edge rusher. Dylan Moses, I know we don't need a linebacker. I just can't pass up him there at 111th overall. Paulson Debo gives us more depth at corner, which I really like that. Travon Grimes is an amazing pick there. Quentin Morris is a really, really nice pick there because you think about tight ends. For instance, Travis Kelce and George Kittle were both later round picks as tight ends. And CJ Uzomah, I also believe he was either a 5th or 6th round pick. So it's not, tight ends who are drafted in late rounds. It's not really surprising that they have nice careers in the NFL. I don't think Quentin Morris is going to be a star in the league, but I think he could be a pretty decent guy, kind of like CJ Uzomah. And we take them both there last pick of the draft. So, kind of about does it. I kind of talked about, let's see here. I kind of talked about, some of the departures, with AJ Green signing with the Cardinals, us cutting Bobby Hart, us also cutting Geno Atkins, trading Ryan Finley, Alex Erickson to the Texans, and Randy Bullock to the Lions. Also talked about some of our recent signings, like Larry Ogunjabi, a 1-year contract, Bradley Reef, also a 1-year contract as well, and some couple of targets I would still like for us to get, the kind of the same targets I mentioned. Another video, really like Ryan Kerrigan, and a couple other people as well. And, also did a Bengals round mock draft. So make sure to like this video. Thanks to everybody for tuning in and everything. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time on the Sports 2 Hunt Show.